So, if you don't already know, Glasgow Warriors made it to the Challenge Cup final, and they're playing Toulon on Friday, the 19th of May. And I personally believe that that is a huge game for both Glasgow, Leon, and Scottish Rugby. Um, so I suppose this is a bit of a preview for the game, but I kind of also want to talk a little bit about the lasting impact that this game could have on Scottish Rugby. If Glasgow were to succeed, and I'll talk about if I think they will or not. But they're in the game, so obviously they have a chance. But yeah. Now, I specifically chose this shirt for a reason. This is the 1999 Scotland Rugby shirt. And this was the last time that Scotland, as a national team, won the Five Nations. What is now the Six Nations, the last time. And it was actually the last time it was the Five Nations until Italy were added in 2000. So technically Scotland are reigning Five Nations champions, but I won't need to get into that. I'm sure most of you already know that. But can Glasgow bring out glory from that? Probably the best trophy ever won by Scottish Rugby since the 99 Five Nations. There's only really been two major ones. The other one coming in Glasgow's Pro 14 title in 2015, which is a massive success, but I feel like domestic success, European success is just slightly better, because obviously you're facing some bigger. I know it's only the Challenge Cup, but you've still had to face some pretty tough teams from England, France, as well as your own league, especially in rugby. But I feel like it will. If Glasgow Warriors can make it over the line and beat Leon, which, as I said, I'll talk about if I feel like they can in a couple of minutes. But I think it will be a huge, huge thing for Scottish Rugby if Glasgow can pull it off. I think it will inspire many, many younger people to try out, step up, and see how they go. Now, I suppose the question everyone begging is, can they actually do it? And I'm honestly going to say, I think they can. Now, I obviously know Toulon are a brilliant team. They've got some brilliant players, You just look at the team sheet and they've got some of the best players in the world. The likes of Dan Biggar, Sergio Parisi, Cheslin Kobe, Charles Olivon, some massive, massive names in world rugby, older and younger. And all of those players leaving their mark all across rugby, if it's internationally. Well, they're all massive international fans with players with many, many, many international caps and even a few World Cups between them. But Glasgow do also have a strong team. You've got to sit there. The centre partnership of Hugh Jones and Tui Pilotu, I'd almost argue is one of the best centre pairings in the world at the minute. The pair of them single-handedly tore up the Six Nations in what was one of Scotland's best seasons for a long, long time. But obviously, the calibre of players you have is a factor, but I feel like it's not the biggest factor. You could have a team of superstars, but still lose to a team of, Friday pub players. Maybe not that low, but you know what I mean. If the conditions are right. And I feel like this Glasgow team is on fire at the minute. I feel like they're only in the challenge because they weren't very good last season, which isn't really this team's fault. I know there's many players who played last season, but they have a massive coach overhaul. You've had Franco Smith coming in. I feel like, especially if you look at that URC quarter final they had last year when they got absolutely hammered. I think Leinster put 70 points on them in a quarter final, which is embarrassing for quarter final. You look at, you just got to think that, the players, I think, rebelled against Danny Wilson and forced him out. And Franco Smith came in and has really revolutionised this team. They've played some brilliant, brilliant rugby this year. And I really do feel like they have a chance, really, to win this game. I'm not saying by any means Toulon can't, because obviously Toulon are a very good team, and I think that it will be a close game, no matter what way of the two it goes. But I really do feel like Glasgow have a massive chance in this game to win. I don't know if that's my Scottish bias. Probably is. Mind you, I am more Edinburgh, but I don't really want to talk about Edinburgh at the minute because they kicked the pants this season. I may do a rundown of what happened with Edinburgh and why they went from such a good season last year to such a rubbish season this year. But I wanted to do this first, and then I might do a Champions Cup final. Can La Rochelle stop Leinster second time in a row? I think most of you already know the answer to that, but it's worth doing. But yeah, really, can Glasgow win? I think they can. No matter what, I think this is a huge game for Scottish rugby. Only one Scottish team has actually made it to the final of any European thing, which Edinburgh made the final of the Challenge Cup 2015, I believe it was. But narrowly, I think it was narrowly anyway. They lost out to Gloucester in the end. I think it was narrow. I think it was a lower scoring now. I think it was like 13-16 or something. I might go and check that quickly. Yeah, it was 19-13, not 16-13, so a little bit out there. Not far off though. I knew it was narrow and lower scoring, but still, Edinburgh came close, and I think Glasgow genuinely probably have a better shot. I think they are the better team this season. Obviously, Edinburgh back 2015 are completely different now. But I think Glasgow really are going to win this game. If you think Toulon are going to win, I'm not saying they can't win. I really do think they can. Toulon are a brilliant team, but I feel like Glasgow are going to win. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. I'd love you to let me know. And if you want me to talk about any other subject, I am in the midst of looking up a Champions Cup final preview. Can La Rochelle stop Leinster? I'm going to do a deep dive into Edinburgh and what went wrong with them, because I am Scottish. If you read the thing, I am Scottish. I focus on Scottish rugby. I want to focus on Scottish rugby. So I kind of look at them. I may also do, if I have time, the Women's Six Nations and how successful was it for Scotland, and it was actually a very successful tournament for them, winning 2 games for the first time in a long time, in about 5-10 years or so. Not 5-10, about 5 or 6 years. I say 5-10. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you've anything wrong. I am happy for debates, just no silly ones, please. I won't answer you if your debate's silly, but I know most people aren't. I know most people genuinely have a justified reason for what they're saying, but there are a few idiots out there, but we don't need to focus on them. So thank you, and I'll see you later.